The Schutzstaffel, which translates as Protection Squad and is commonly abbreviated as SS in all history books, was a key paramilitary organization within the Nazi Party, playing a central role in security, surveillance, and the enforcement of terror in the Greater Germanic Reich. Its main headquarters were located in the Prinz Albrecht Strasse building in Berlin. Although they initially emerged as a volunteer unit tasked with protecting party events, over time they transformed into one of the most powerful and extensive structures of the Nazi regime. The SS not only acted as a political and military force, but also operated as a mega-corporation and was the main executor of Nazism's genocidal policies. Welcome to the Soldier's Diary. Its origins can be traced back to a small security unit called the Saal, Schutz, room protection, made up of volunteers who guarded party meetings in Munich. In 1925, Heinrich Himmler joined the organization, which had already been reorganized and renamed the SS. Under his leadership from 1929 onwards, the SS grew from a small paramilitary formation during the Weimar Republic to become one of the most influential institutions in Nazi Germany. Following the rise to power of the Nazi Party, the SS established itself as the principal agency of security, surveillance, and terror, both in Germany and in the occupied territories during World War II. The SS structure was divided primarily into two groups: the Allgemeine SS, General SS, and the Waffen-SS, Armed SS. The former was responsible for enforcing the regime's racial policies and for general police functions, while the Waffen-SS constituted the combat units, swearing absolute loyalty to Adolf Hitler. A third component, the SS Totenkopfverbände, SSTV, dead-end units, administered the concentration and extermination camps. Other major divisions included the Gestapo, secret state police, and the Sicherheitsdienst, SD, security service, which were responsible for identifying and neutralizing enemies of the regime, monitoring the ideological loyalty of the population, and gathering intelligence both domestically and internationally. The SS was primarily responsible for the systematic murder of between 5.5 and 6 million Jews, as well as millions of other victims during the Holocaust. Members of all branches of the SS participated in war crimes and crimes against humanity during World War II between 1939 and 1945. In addition, the SS was involved in economic activities, exploiting concentration camp prisoners as slave labor. In the context of the titles developed by Machine Games, the SS is depicted as the military arm of the Third Reich, with all soldiers, police officers, and uniformed services operating under its command. Germanic SS. Germanic SS, which in German is Germanische SS, is the collective term used to refer to the paramilitary and political organizations created in various regions of German-occupied Europe from 1939 onwards, under the supervision of the Schutzstaffel SS. These units were inspired by the structure of the Allgemeine SS of Nazi Germany and were established in countries such as Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Norway, whose populations were considered racially suitable according to Nazi ideology. These formations acted primarily as local security forces, complementing German units of the Gestapo, the Sicherheitsdienst, SD, and other departments of the Reich Main Security Office. In 1923, the Nazi Party, led by Adolf Hitler, had created a small unit of volunteer guards called the Saal Schutz, room protection, to ensure security at its meetings in Munich. That same year, Hitler ordered the formation of a group of bodyguards dedicated solely to his personal protection. He wanted this unit to be separate from the suspicious mass of the party, including the Sturmabteilung, Storm Battalion, SA, a paramilitary organization he did not trust. This new formation was called the Stabswache, Staff Guard. Originally, the unit consisted of 8 men, commanded by Julius Schreck and Josef Berchtold, and was modeled on the Erhardt Naval Brigade, a paramilitary group, Freikorps, of the time. In May 1923, the unit was renamed the Stosstrup, Shock Troops. The Stosstrup was disbanded following the failed Beer Hall Putsch of 1923, an attempt by the Nazi Party to seize power in Munich. In 1925, Hitler tasked Schreck with creating a new bodyguard unit, the Schutzkommando, Protection Command. whose mission was to protect him at party events and functions. That same year, the Schutzkommando was expanded nationwide and renamed first to Sturmstaffel, Storm Squad, and finally to Schutzstaffel, Protection Squad, SS. The official founding of the SS was celebrated on the 9th of November 1925, coinciding with the second anniversary of the Beer Hall Putsch. The new SS was tasked with protecting party leaders throughout Germany, and Hitler's personal protection unit was later expanded to include combat units. Julius Schreck, a founding member of the SA and close to Hitler, became the first SS leader in March 1925. On 15 April 1926, he was succeeded in office by Joseph Berchtold, changing the title to Reichsführer, SS, leader of the Reich SS. Berchtold, although more dynamic than his predecessor, became frustrated by the authority the SA exerted over the SS, leading him to transfer leadership to his deputy, Erhard Haydn, on the 1st of March 1927. Under Haydn, a stricter code of discipline than was permitted in the SA was implemented. Between 1925 and 1929, the SS was considered a small group within the SA. Except in Munich, the SS failed to maintain significant growth in its membership, which declined from 1,000 to 280 members as the SA continued to expand rapidly. While Haydn attempted to prevent the dissolution of the SS, Heinrich Himmler became his deputy in September 1927. Himmler demonstrated superior organizational skills to Haydn. The SS established several regions or Gau, such as SS Gau Berlin, SS Gau Berlin Brandenburg, SS Gau Franken, SS Gau Lower Bavaria, SS Gau Rhineland-Süd, and SS Gau Saxony. With Hitler's approval, Himmler assumed the position of Reichsführer, SS, in January 1929. There are various versions of Haydn's dismissal, although the party claimed family reasons. Under Himmler's leadership, the SS underwent significant expansion. Himmler viewed the SS as an ideologically driven National Socialist elite, a mixture of Teutonic Knights, Jesuits, and Japanese samurai. His goal was to make it the most powerful organization in Germany and the most influential branch of the party. In his first year as leader, Himmler increased SS membership to 3,000 people. In 1929, the SS Hauptamt, SS main office, was reorganized into 5 main areas: general administration, personnel, finance, security, and racial affairs. At the same time, the SS Gau was divided into 3 regions: SS Oberführerbereich Ost, SS Oberführerbereich West, and SS Oberführerbereich Süd. Although officially the SS remained a sub-organization of the SA, Himmler began to establish its independence. The SS grew in size and power due to its exclusive loyalty to Hitler, unlike the SA, which was seen as semi-independent and a threat to his authority. By the end of 1933, the SS reached 209,000 members. Under Himmler, the SS increasingly accumulated state and party functions, answering solely to Hitler, a reflection of the Führerprinzip, leader principle, where Hitler's will was above the law. In the second half of 1934, Himmler oversaw the creation of the SS Junkerschule, academies where officer candidates received leadership training, political and ideological indoctrination, and military training. These schools emphasized cruelty and toughness as core values, fostering a sense of superiority among members. The first schools were established in Bad Tölz and Braunschweig, and during the war others were opened in Klagenfurt and Prague. SS ideology. The SS, best known as the elite unit of the Nazi Party, played a crucial role in implementing Nazi Germany's racial and military policies. From its inception, the requirements to join the SS were strict and aligned with the regime's racial ideology. Officer candidates were required to prove their Aryan ancestry dating back to 1750, while other ranks were required to prove their Aryan lineage dating back to 1800. However, with the outbreak of World War II and the difficulties in verifying ancestry, these rules were relaxed, allowing only Aryan lineage from one's grandparents to be proven as set out in the Nuremberg laws. In addition to these racial requirements, unwavering loyalty to the Führer and absolute commitment to the German nation were required. SS leader Heinrich Himmler attempted to enforce physical criteria based on appearance and height, But these were not rigorously enforced, resulting in over half of members failing to meet these standards. To encourage membership, benefits such as higher wages and larger housing were offered, as SS members were expected to have more children than the average German family, in line with Nazi doctrine of racial expansion. Ideological indoctrination was a fundamental part of the SS recruitment and training process. Members were instructed in Nazi racial policy and taught that those considered inferior according to this ideology needed to be eliminated. Esoteric rituals and pseudo-religious ceremonies, such as the celebration of the solstice instead of Christmas and pagan weddings known as SS Ehewein, reinforced loyalty to Nazi ideology. These rituals were often held at iconic locations, such as Wewelsburg Castle in Westphalia, acquired by Himmler in 1933. Initially conceived as a training center, the castle was developed into a space for neo-pagan ceremonies and SS meetings. In 1936, Himmler described the SS as an organization fighting against Bolshevism in a pamphlet titled "The SS as an Anti-Bolshevik Fighting Organization." In it, he claimed that the SS would ensure that the Judeo-Bolshevik revolution of the subhumans would never threaten Germany again. This statement reflected the ideology of the SS, which promoted the use of brutality and terror as tools to solve political and military problems. Loyalty and unconditional obedience unto death were core values, and Hitler used this devotion to advance his goals. The SS was responsible for committing atrocities, war crimes, and illegal activities, acting as the enforcement arm of the Nazi regime. Its motto, "Meine Ehre hat Treue," "My honor is loyalty," encapsulated this absolute devotion. During World War II, the SS played a central role in implementing the final solution, the Nazi plan for the systematic extermination of Jews and other groups deemed undesirable. They oversaw the isolation, displacement, and deportation of millions of people to concentration camps and ghettos, where they were subjected to forced labor or murdered. The SS is estimated to have been responsible for the murder of over 20 million people during the Holocaust, including an estimated 5 to 6 million Jews and 10 million Slavs. They were also responsible for the persecution and extermination of other groups, such as Roma, the physically and mentally disabled, homosexuals, and political dissidents. The Nuremberg trials and other subsequent investigations confirmed that the SS was primarily responsible for the majority of war crimes committed by the Nazi regime. With the outbreak of World War II, the SS was organized into three main branches: the Allgemeine SS, the SS Totenkopfverbände, and the Waffen-SSS. The latter, founded in 1934 as the SS Verfügungstruppe and renamed in 1940, became a parallel military force to the Wehrmacht. Although it operated in conjunction with the regular army, it never achieved full independence and was dependent on the Wehrmacht for supplies of heavy weaponry. Despite this, the Waffen-SS gained notoriety for its aggressiveness on the battlefield and its willingness to commit atrocities. Following the failed assassination attempt on Hitler in July 1944, the SS consolidated its power within the Nazi regime, becoming the dominant force in all aspects of the empire. The invasion of Poland marked a turning point for the SS, as it assumed a central role in eastward expansion and the implementation of genocidal policies. The SS's culture of violence and death made it the primary tool for the extermination of Slavic peoples through mass executions, terror, and industrial-scale murder. As the war progressed, the atrocities committed by the SS intensified, especially in the occupied territories of the Soviet Union. Economically, the SS took advantage of the war to enrich itself through plunder, confiscation of property, and exploitation of slave labor in concentration camps. Factories confiscated from Jews and other groups were taken over by SS-affiliated businessmen, establishing monopolies in several economic sectors. Even the personal property of victims, such as hair and gold fillings, were used to finance the Nazi war machine. In an alternate timeline, Wilhelm Strasse's rise within the SS changed the course of the war. Strasse, one of the few SS members who was not a radical anti-Semite, took advantage of Da'at technology Yichud to develop advanced weapons that were used on the front lines against the Allies and the Soviets. These technological innovations, combined with the aggressiveness of the SS troops, allowed the Nazis to resist the D-Day landings with minimal casualties. In the following years, the SS became fully integrated with the Nazi Empire, consolidating its influence in all aspects of the regime. In the 1960s, the SS maintained its control over the culture, economy, and military of the Nazi Empire, although its power began to decline in the following decades. The structure of the SS included various subdivisions, such as the Black Watch, the Special Weapons and Paranormal Projects Division, and the Waffen SS, each with specific but interconnected functions. Its all-black uniform became a recognizable symbol of its power and brutality. Units and branches of the SS Reinhard Heydrich played a crucial role in the Nazi security machinery, serving as chief of both the security police and the SD security service until 27 September 1939. At that time, he assumed leadership of the newly established Reich Main Security Office, an entity that centralized SS security operations. Under his direction, the RSHA coordinated various agencies including the SD Security Service, the Kripo, Criminal Police, and the Gestapo, Secret State Police, as well as managing areas such as finance, administration, and supplies. Heinrich Himmler, who had previously directed Gestapo operations, was appointed its head, while Arthur Neber assumed control of the Kripo. The SD, considered an elite branch of the SS, was commanded by officers such as Otto Ohlendorf and Walter Schellenberg. SD members received specialized training in criminology, intelligence, and counterintelligence, and were noted for their cruelty and firm adherence to Nazi ideology. On 27 May 1942, Heydrich was attacked in Prague by a commando of British-trained Czech and Slovak soldiers in an operation known as Anthropoid, organized by the Czechoslovak government in exile. Heydrich died of his wounds a week later. Following his death, Heinrich Himmler temporarily assumed leadership of the RSHA until Ernst Kaltenbrunner took command on 30 January 1943. The structure of the SS included several central offices, such as the SS Main Office, SS Hauptamt, SSHA, which functioned as the command center of the Schutzstaffel until 1940. Another key entity was the SS Main Economic and Administrative Office, SS Wirtschafts- und Reichstag, and the SS Main Office, SS Hauptamt, SSHA. Verwaltungshauptamt, SSWVHA, responsible for managing the finances, supply systems, and business ventures of the SS. This office also oversaw the concentration camps and played a pivotal role in the implementation of the final solution, coordinating operations through sub-offices such as the Concentration Camp Inspectorate. Beginning in 1938, the SS began forming special units known as SS Sonderkommandos, tasked with carrying out specific missions, including extermination operations. These units were highly flexible, with their number and composition constantly varying. According to Wilhelm Hüttl, a former SS Sturmbannführer, even the SS leadership was unaware of the exact number of these commandos, which were formed and disbanded as needed, especially on the Eastern Front. An example of the brutality of the SS Sonderkommandos was the massacre of psychiatric patients at the Tegenhof Hospital in the Free City of Danzig, led by SS Sturmbannführer Herbert Lang. This unit murdered thousands of people, including 1,201 patients at Tegenhof, 1,100 at Owinska, 2,750 at Kościan, and 1,558 at Działdowo. In addition, Lang was responsible for the creation and operation of the first extermination camp at Chelmno, where 152,000 Jews were murdered using gas trucks. Following the Battle of Stalingrad in February 1943, Heinrich Himmler, aware that Germany might lose the war, ordered the formation of Sonderkommando 1005 under the command of SS Standartenführer Paul Blobel. This commando was tasked with exhuming and burning the bodies of victims in mass graves on the Eastern Front, with the aim of concealing evidence of the genocide. However, the scale of the task meant that many graves remained undiscovered. Another notable example was the Sonderkommando led by Adolf Eichmann, which arrived in Budapest on 19 March 1944, coinciding with the invasion of Hungary by Axis forces. This group was tasked with organizing the mass deportation of Hungarian Jews to Auschwitz. With the collaboration of the Hungarian gendarmerie and pro-German officials, Deportations began on 16 April 1944. By 14 May, 4 trains a day were carrying 3,000 Jews to Auschwitz und Birkenau, where most were murdered in gas chambers shortly after arrival. Although deportations were halted on June 6, 1944, due to international pressure, more than 437,000 Hungarian Jews had been murdered. The Einsatzgruppen, mobile extermination units, had their origins in the Einsatzkommandos created by Heinrich, following the annexation of Austria in March 1938. These units were deployed to the Sudetenland in October 1938, where they confiscated government and police documents, secured buildings, and detained thousands of communists and German citizens. During the occupation of Czechoslovakia in 1939, similar groups were used to suppress resistance. In 1941, the Einsatzgruppen were sent to the Soviet Union with the mission of carrying out a large-scale genocide against Jews, Roma, and Communists. According to historian Raoul Hilberg, these units and related agencies murdered more than 2 million people between 1941 and 1945, including 1.3 million Jews. One of the most infamous episodes was the Babi Yar massacre near Kiev, where 33,771 Jews were executed in a single operation on 29th to 30th September 1941. Other notable crimes include the Rombula massacre, in which 25,000 Jews from the Riga ghetto were murdered, and the mass shooting in Kharkiv in early 1942, which claimed the lives of more than 10,000 Jews. The internal SS judicial system, known as the Hauptamt SS Gericht, SS Court, functioned as an exclusive legal mechanism for investigating, trying, and punishing members of the SS and police. This system was staffed by over 600 lawyers at its main offices in Berlin and Munich, and operated through 38 regional courts spread across Germany. Its jurisdiction covered SS personnel exclusively, except in cases where SS members were on active duty within the Wehrmacht, where they were tried by conventional military courts. The creation of this court system placed the SS outside the reach of civilian justice, consolidating its autonomy and power. Heinrich Himmler, leader of the SS, directly intervened in court decisions when he deemed it necessary, influencing sentences and punishments. According to historian Karl Dietrich Bracher, this court system was a fundamental pillar in the construction of the Nazi totalitarian police state, as it eliminated any form of objective legal procedure, leaving citizens exposed to what he describes as the summary justice of SS terror. After Hitler came to power in 1933, numerous riding associations were absorbed into the SA, Sturmabteilung, and the SS. Members of these associations received military training to join the Reiter SS, SS Cavalry Corps. The first SS Cavalry Regiment, called SS Totenkopf Reichsstandarte I, was established in September 1939 under the command of SS Standartenführer Hermann Fegelein. This unit was deployed in Poland, where it was actively involved in the elimination of the Polish intelligentsia as part of the extermination campaign. By May 1940, more squadrons had been added, reaching a total of 14. In December 1939, the unit was divided into 2 regiments, both under the command of Fegelein. By March 1941, the combined strength of these regiments numbered 3,500 men. In July of that same year, they were sent to the Pripyat swamps in a punitive operation aimed at rounding up and exterminating Jews and partisans. On 31st July, the 2 regiments were merged to form the SS Cavalry Brigade. According to Fegelein's final report, dated 18 September 1941, the brigade's actions resulted in the deaths of 14,178 Jews, 1,001 partisans, and 699 Red Army soldiers, in addition to the capture of 830 prisoners. However, historian Henning Pieper estimates the actual number of Jews killed to have been closer to 23,700. The brigade suffered heavy losses during the Battle of Moscow in November 1941, with casualties reaching up to 60% in some squadrons. On 20 April 1943, Fegelein was appointed commander of the 8th SS Cavalry Division Florian Geyer, a unit that operated in the Soviet Union, taking part in attacks against partisans and civilians. In addition, SS cavalry regiments were also active in Croatia and Hungary. The SS Medical Corps, initially known as the Sanitätsstaffel, sanitary units, underwent significant reorganization after 1931, when the central office Amt 5 was established to coordinate SS medical units. In 1938, an SS medical academy was founded in Berlin for the purpose of training Waffen, SS physicians. However, the role of SS medical personnel was far from providing genuine medical care. Their primary function was linked to medicalized genocide. In camps such as Auschwitz, approximately 75% of new arrivals, including children, women with small children, the elderly, and those deemed unfit upon cursory inspection, were killed within hours. SS physicians, under the title of Desinfektoren, disinfectors, also screened existing prisoners based on their ability to work and oversaw the disposal of those deemed unfit. Those who could not recover within 2 weeks were killed. At Auschwitz, the administration of Zyklon B gas to victims was always under SS supervision, following the orders of the supervising camp doctor. Many of these doctors also carried out inhumane medical experiments on prisoners. One of the most infamous was Josef Mengele, who served as a medical officer at Auschwitz under Edward Wirths. Mengele would carry out selections, even when it was not his turn, in order to find subjects for his experiments, especially twins. Unlike other doctors who found this task extremely stressful, Mengele performed it with a carefree attitude, often smiling or whistling. After the war, many SS doctors were tried for war crimes due to their involvement in medical experiments and selections for the gas chambers. The Ahnenerbe, Ancestral Heritage Organization, was founded in 1935 by Heinrich Himmler and formally integrated into the SS in 1939. This agency functioned as an umbrella for over 50 organizations dedicated to the study of German racial identity, as well as ancient Germanic traditions and languages. The Ahnenerbe sponsored archaeological expeditions in various regions, including Germany, Scandinavia, the Middle East, and Tibet, with the goal of finding evidence to support the supposed Aryan superiority. However, many of the planned expeditions were indefinitely suspended following the outbreak of World War II. Together, these structures and operations reflect the complexity and scope of the SS apparatus, which was not limited to military and police functions, but also encompassed judicial, medical, and cultural spheres, all in the service of Nazi ideology and its machinery of terror and extermination. The SS Frauenkorps was an auxiliary information and office unit, which included the SS Helferinnenkorps, Women's Helpers Corps, made up of female volunteers. Its members were assigned as administrative and supply personnel and served in command positions and as guards in women's concentration camps. While the female guards in concentration and extermination camps were civilian employees of the SS Helferinnen, who completed their training at the Reichsschule für SS Helferinnen in Oberenheim, Alsace, were members of the Waffen-SS. Like their male counterparts in the SS, women participated in atrocities against Jews, Poles, and others. In 1942, Himmler founded the Reichsschule in Oberenheim for SS Helferinnen, Reich School for SS adjutants, the aim of which was to train women in the field of communications so that they could free up men for combat roles. Himmler also intended to replace all female civilian employees in his employ with members of the SS Helferinnen, as they were selected and trained according to Nazi ideology. The school closed on 22 November 1944 due to the Allied advance. SS Mannschaften, SS auxiliaries, were not considered regular members of the SS, but were recruited from other branches of the German military, the Nazi Party, the SA, and the Volkssturm, to serve in concentration camps and extermination camps. Foreign legions and volunteers. Beginning in the 1940s, Heinrich Himmler expanded Waffen-SS recruitment to include ethnic Germans who did not possess German citizenship. In March 1941, the SS Central Office created the Germanische. The Waffen-SS was founded in 1891 by the Germanic Orientation Office, Leitstelle, for the purpose of establishing recruiting centers for the Waffen-SS in the European territories occupied by the Nazi regime. Many of the foreign units integrated into the Waffen-SS wore a distinctive collar patch representing their nationality and used the prefix Waffen instead of SS to designate their ranks. Volunteers from Scandinavian countries formed two key divisions, the SS Viking and the SS Nordland. Significant numbers of German speakers from Switzerland also joined the ranks. In Belgium, Flemish people were integrated alongside Dutch people into the SS Nederland Legion, while Walloons were incorporated into the SS Wallonian. By the end of 1943, approximately 25% of SS members were ethnic Germans from various parts of Europe, and by June 1944, half of the Waffen-SS was made up of foreign nationals. In addition, additional Waffen-SS units were formed from volunteers of diverse backgrounds, including Ukrainians, Kosovo Albanians, Serbs, Croats, Turks, Caucasians, Cossacks, and Tatars. The Ukrainians and Tatars, who had suffered persecution under Stalin's regime, were probably motivated more by their opposition to Soviet rule than by any ideological affinity with the SS. In May 1943, Himmler appointed the exiled Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, Amin al-Husseini, as SS Gruppenführer. The latter took advantage of anti-Semitism and anti-Serb sentiment to recruit a division of Bosnian Muslims known as the SS Handschar. The Soviet occupation of the Baltic states during the first year of World War II prompted many volunteers from Latvia and Estonia to join the Waffen-SS. By the end of 1942, the Estonian Legion had 1,280 volunteers in training. Approximately 25,000 men served in the Estonian SS division, and thousands more were recruited into front police battalions and border guard units. Most Estonians fought with the primary goal of regaining their independence, and it is estimated that up to 15,000 of them lost their lives fighting alongside German forces. In early 1944, Himmler even suggested releasing Muslim prisoners from concentration camps to reinforce the SS troops. On the other hand, the Indian Legion was a unit of the Wehrmacht created in August 1942, composed mainly of Indian soldiers of the British Indian Army who had been captured during the North African campaign, and who expressed their discontent with British colonial rule. In August 1944, this legion was transferred to the Waffen-SS under the name Indische Freiwilligenlegion, the Waffen-SS. A French volunteer division, the SS Charlemagne, was also formed in 1944, consisting mainly of the remnants of the French Volunteer Legion against Bolshevism and the French Sturm Brigade. Ranks and uniforms. The SS developed a distinctive set of symbols, rituals, traditions, hierarchies, and uniforms in order to distinguish itself from other organizations. Initially, prior to 1929, SS members wore the same brown uniform as the SA, although they were differentiated by the use of a black tie and a black cap, bearing a skull and crossbones emblem, known as the Totenkopf. However, in 1932, they adopted an all-black uniform. Subsequently, in 1935, SS combat units introduced a grey service uniform for everyday use. In addition, they designed specific battlefield attire, including reversible garments and helmet covers with camouflage designs. These uniforms were produced in numerous licensed factories, many of which employed prisoners of war subjected to forced labor and were even manufactured in concentration camps. Hitler and the Nazi Party were aware of the impact that symbols and insignia could have on public perception. In 1932, the SS emblem was selected, consisting of a pair of stylized runes depicting a lightning bolt. These runes were part of a set of 18 symbols created by Guido von List in 1906, known as the Armanen Rune. Although it resembled the ancient Sawilo rune, associated with the sun, in List's iconography it was renamed Sig, meaning victory. On the other hand, the Totenkopf, or skull, symbolized the bearer's readiness to fight to the end, while also serving as an intimidating element for adversaries.